There's a very specific moment when a woman becomes stylish in a way that can't be taught. It's not when she buys better things, it's when she stops buying things for reasons that aren't hers. And that's what I want to talk about today, because in 2026, the biggest style shift isn't a trend, it's a behavior. It's an emotional maturity. It's women quietly exiting an entire economy that runs on panic, comparison, and witnesses. Hi, I'm Ju. Welcome to GTWJ. And before we begin, get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, or something nice to drink and settle in. Because today's video is called What Stylish Women Never Buy Anymore 2026 edition. And I want to be very clear about what this is and what it is not. This is not me telling you don't buy this. This is not me shaming anything you own. This is not minimalism rules. This is not morality. This is not you're wrong if you like nice things. This is decision intelligence. This is emotional maturity. This is what changes when you stop buying from social pressure and start buying from self-trust. And the central idea, the one sentence that explains the entire video, is this: stylish women in 2026 didn't stop buying things because they became boring or less indulgent or less interested in fashion. They stopped buying things because they stopped needing witnesses. That is the shift, not what's in, not what's out, not quiet versus loud. Witnesses. Because when you remove the audience from your choices, half the industry becomes irrelevant overnight, and you can feel it in the way women shop now. There's a new question that stylish women ask automatically without even trying to be disciplined. They don't ask, will this impress? They don't ask, will this signal success? They don't ask, will this make me look like I belong? They ask one question: would I still want this if nobody knew I owned it, if nobody ever saw it, if nobody ever complimented it, if there were no unboxing, no reaction, no proof, no moment? Would I still want it? And that question doesn't kill pleasure, it protects it, because it separates joy from validation. And those are two completely different experiences that we were trained to confuse. So let's talk about what stylish women don't buy anymore in 2026. Through categories that are really about motivation, not items. The first category is the easiest to spot once you're honest about it. Things bought for a reaction, not things bought because you truly love them. Things bought because they create a moment. The wait till you see this. The everyone's going to ask where it's from. The this will look so good in a photo. The this will do numbers. And this is so important. It's not that buying for a reaction makes you shallow. It makes you human. Social media trained us to perform ownership. It trained us to turn purchases into content and content into identity. It trained us to get a dopamine hit from being seen, not from being satisfied. But stylish women in 2026 noticed something quietly devastating. If the excitement disappears once the post is uploaded, it wasn't joy, it was validation. Because real joy doesn't need an audience to stay alive. Real joy gets better in private. It settles into you. It becomes part of your day. You reach for it because it supports you, not because it announces you. Stylish women started noticing that certain purchases felt incredible in the 5-minute window where they were being watched, and strangely empty right after. And they didn't become better people. They became freer people. They stopped buying items that exist mainly to be seen by other people. Which brings me to the second category, and this one is the most emotional for most women because it's not about taste, it's about belonging. Keep up purchases, buying to match a social group, buying to avoid feeling behind, buying because everyone around you has one and you don't want to be the only one without it. And I want to say this gently because a lot of you will recognize yourself here. There is a difference between treating yourself and trying to keep up. Treating yourself feels warm. Keeping up feels supervised. Treating yourself feels like you're meeting your own life. Keeping up feels like you're trying to pass an exam that never ends. Because buying things outside your means doesn't make you feel successful. It makes you feel monitored. It creates a low-level anxiety that sits under everything. Because you're not enjoying the item, you're managing what it means. And in 2026, stylish women are not interested in managing what things mean to other people. They're interested in living. So they stopped stretching financially just to look aligned with a room. They stopped turning shopping into social compliance. They stopped confusing being included with being identical. And the most important realization, the one that changes your entire relationship with keeping up, is this: if I have to buy my way into a room, it's not my room. And once you accept that, something shifts. You stop shopping like you're trying to earn your place. You stop paying a tax to be perceived correctly. You stop letting your bank account become a voting system for other people's opinions. You start buying for your actual life. And this is where I want to bring GTWJ into this for a second, not as a speech, but because it genuinely belongs right here. This exact shift from validation-driven consumption to self-trust is one of the foundations of what we unpack in GTWJ Issue 001 and Issue 02. Issue 001 goes into why certain things that used to feel aspirational suddenly feel empty, why visibility stopped being power, and why so many women are choosing restraint not as a trend, but as a boundary. And Issue 002 takes that understanding into real life, how to build a wardrobe and a buying mindset that actually feels like you, so you stop purchasing solutions to emotional pressure and start choosing pieces that integrate into your life. If this video is already putting words to something you've been feeling, those issues are linked below for when you want to go deeper than a YouTube video can go. Now let's keep going, because the third category is one of the most quietly expensive mistakes women make. And it doesn't look like a mistake at all. Objects that represent who you used to want to be, not who you are, not who you're becoming, who you used to want to be. This is where women get stuck, because the item is beautiful. The item is iconic. The item was aspirational at one point. It might have been your dream purchase. It might have been your I made it moment. And then one day you realize something you don't want to admit out loud. It feels heavy now, not physically, emotionally, because some things stop being luxurious when they no longer reflect your life. And stylish women in 2026 do something that is actually very brave. They let identity evolve, even when it costs money to admit it. They don't keep things just because they were expensive. They don't keep things just because they're iconic. They don't keep things just because they once meant something. They're not disrespecting the past. They're refusing to live in it. And this is where the internet gets it wrong, because the internet thinks style is about collecting the right objects. But real style is about authorship. It's about owning your present. And if you're carrying an object that belongs to an old version of your ambition, it will quietly age you, not because it's outdated, but because it's misaddressed. It's speaking to a chapter you already finished. So stylish women stop buying new versions of old selves. They stop buying the fantasy of me. They start buying the reality of my days. Which brings me to category 4, purchases made to look successful. This is delicate, so I'm going to say it carefully. It is okay to buy luxury. It is okay to treat yourself. It is okay to love beautiful things. But stylish women in 2026 are no longer buying objects to convince other people they're doing well. They don't buy symbols without substance. They don't buy proof. They don't buy items that perform confidence instead of supporting it. Because real success doesn't need props. And you can feel the difference immediately when you're around a woman who has true stability. She doesn't over-explain, she doesn't over-signal, she doesn't narrate her worth through objects. She might own beautiful things, but she doesn't use them like megaphones. She uses them like tools, like companions, like quiet reinforcements of a life that already exists. Now, I want to talk about something that is extremely modern and extremely viral and also extremely misunderstood. Unboxing culture. Because there's a version of shopping that has become so normalized that people don't even realize it's not actually pleasure. Buying something mainly to unbox it is not self-reward, it's outsourcing joy to an audience, because the joy isn't in the item, the joy is in the moment of being watched receiving it. And once that moment passes, you're left with the object, and you realize you don't actually know how to live with it. Stylish women in 2026 have reclaimed private pleasure. They don't need to show their purchases. They don't need to announce them. They don't need to turn them into content to justify them. They're not hiding. They're protecting the intimacy of enjoyment, because The most luxurious thing you can do now is want something and keep it for yourself. And that's the part that feels like liberation when you finally experience it. You realize, I can buy something and let it be mine. Not mine for the internet, not mine for a friend's reaction, not mine for a partner to see. Mine. Now, after all that, I want to be clear. This is not about deprivation. Stylish women didn't stop enjoying things. They stopped negotiating their joy. They stopped buying things that expire emotionally the moment the room stops clapping. Because the truth is, a lot of purchases aren't expensive because of price. They're expensive because of what they cost you psychologically. They cost you peace, they cost you stability, they cost you a sense of internal authority. You start feeling like you can't relax until you keep up. And that is not fashion, that's pressure. So what do stylish women buy instead? Not a list, not a shopping guide, not 10 essentials. They buy fewer things, but more repeatable things. Things that blend into life instead of announcing themselves. Things that don't demand attention. Things that can survive a real day and still feel like you. And here's the clean line that explains the difference. If it integrates quietly, it stays. If it demands attention, it doesn't. Because in 2026, stylish women are building a wardrobe that behaves like a system, not a series of moments. They want pieces that work on an ordinary Tuesday, not just on an exceptional night. They want items that don't require an explanation. They want beauty that doesn't come with performance. And this is why anti-haul energy is actually not negative when it's done right. It's not anti-luxury, it's anti-panic, it's anti-validation, it's anti-social pressure. It's the relief of realizing you don't have to keep proving you are doing well. You can just do well. And I want to bring GTWJ in again here because it belongs right in the middle of this conversation too. If you've ever looked at your purchases and thought, why do I own beautiful things but still feel like I don't have style? That's not because you lack taste. It's because you have items but you don't have language yet. That's exactly what GTWJ Issue 01 and Issue 02 are built for. Issue 001 explains the psychological and cultural shift, why certain purchases feel empty now, why being seen stopped feeling like power, and why restraint has become one of the most modern signals of self-possession. Issue 002 gives you the practical framework for building a wardrobe that feels coherent, so you stop buying to solve insecurity and start buying from identity. They're linked below when you're ready. Now let's close this in a way that actually lands. Stylish women in 2026 aren't anti-luxury, they're anti-audience. They buy for their life, not for their image. And once you stop buying to keep up, you realize something quietly shocking. You were never behind. You were just watching other people sprint in circles and calling it progress. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Stop asking, will this make people think something about me? Start asking, will this support me? And if nobody ever noticed it, would I still love it? Still love it. Because when you start buying like that, your wardrobe becomes calmer. Your style becomes clearer, your life becomes less noisy, and fashion becomes what it was always supposed to be, a tool for self-respect, not a stage. And before you go, I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly in the comments because I'll be there with you. What is one thing you stopped buying once you stopped trying to impress? And what purchase taught you the difference between joy and validation? Also, if you want to go deeper into this conversation, this exact shift from performance to self-trust, GTWJ Issue 001 and GTWJ Issue 02 are linked in the description. They're where we unpack the psychology and then translate it into real wardrobe decisions so your style starts feeling like yours. I'll see you in the next one.